I lost the game on the variety show. Just as I was about to reach for the punishment draw, Matthew beside me cheerfully handed me another box. Draw from this one. The other box is empty. I frowned and looked at him. He stared back at me without batting an eye. From my angle, I could clearly see there were still quite a few slips of paper in that box. Matthew and I are from the same company. Although we're in a similar field and compete with each other, we've also had a fair bit of cooperation. Generally speaking, our relationship is pretty decent. But ever since the company arranged for us to perform a duet dance together last time, he's been acting a bit strange. He used to greet me when we met, but now he turns his head and walks away as soon as he sees me. And he's been subtly targeting me, like he deliberately made me lose the game just now. But right now, with so many people watching in the live stream and a bunch of celebrities around, if I reject him, rumors of our feud will spread again. My manager was frantically winking at me from the corner, telling me to cooperate. I sighed and reluctantly took the box. The slip of paper I drew said, "Send a message to your ex. Show me your abs." I held the thin slip of paper, smiling awkwardly. This isn't right, is it? I'm a grown man. Sending this to my ex is kind of offensive. William, the popular young actor, smiled and teased. Well, you can't not send it. You have to accept the consequences of losing. We all did our punishments just now. You're not gonna back out, are you? His words were tactful, but the subtext was clear. If I didn't do it, I'd be seen as being arrogant. Ever since William saw the guest list when he arrived at the scene today, he's had a sour look on his face. Some time ago, there were rumors online that the movie Emperor Daniel would be on this show. He came here expecting to see Daniel, but in the end, Daniel didn't take this show and instead took on a movie. He should have started filming by now. His recent drama had a small hit, so he's quite popular right now. He's at a stage where he really needs resources and connections. But he ended up recording a show with internet celebrities, which made him annoyed throughout. And because it was a live stream, he couldn't show it too obviously. Now that he found a chance to laugh at me, he definitely wouldn't let it go. Because of his words, the comments in the live stream chat were already in an uproar. I glanced at the audience. My manager didn't look too happy either. There was no other way. I took out my phone, thinking I'd just find a friend to help me get through this. Just as I opened the chat interface and hadn't scrolled much, William next to me suddenly pressed my hand, pointed at the note on the screen, and said, "This disobedient ex, that should be right, ha!" His voice rose at the end, and his words were like they had hooks, incredibly pleasant to hear. But at this moment, it sounded like the devil's low murmur in my ears. My heart skipped a beat. Oh no, I forgot to change his note. The barrage started attacking me one after another. Most of the people watching the show were girls, and the situation got out of control in an instant. The dense barrage was full of attacks on me. William seemed to be in a great mood, standing next to me with a smile, looking completely unconcerned. Matthew, however, didn't look too good. His eyes were fixed tightly on my phone screen, looking preoccupied. The host, enjoying the drama, started urging. People who started as internet celebrities are hard to be respected in the entertainment industry, and no one would step forward to help me out of this mess. Besides, anyone with eyes on the scene could tell that William disliked me. It was already good that no one was adding insult to injury. With the host's repeated urging, I knew I couldn't escape today. I slowly picked up my phone, opened the chat box, and with great difficulty typed the words, "Show me your abs," and sent them. I held the phone, feeling extremely nervous, hoping that the other side wouldn't pay attention to me, wouldn't reply, so that this farce could just pass smoothly. But things didn't go as I hoped. Just 1 minute after I sent it, the phone vibrated in my palm. The phone was connected to the projection screen, and the message was displayed on the big screen. I looked up nervously. The other side sneered. "Are you trying to get back together? Do you really think I'm still that idiot who only knows how to please you? Where do you get the confidence that I'll be waiting for you in the same place forever?" After a few seconds, probably feeling still angry, the other side added viciously, "You're really ridiculous." Seeing these messages, and hearing the roars of laughter and joking around me, I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, it's okay that she's scolding me. At least she didn't send anything else. I forced a smile and put away my phone. I pretended to look unhappy on the surface, but secretly rejoiced in my heart. You guys see, this punishment should be over now, right? William gloated and lectured me. You can't do this. When you're in a relationship, do it right. Don't let that girl down. I nodded repeatedly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Stop it, bro. Let this part pass quickly. As I was in a hurry to put my phone in my pocket, it suddenly rang several times in a row. I had a faint feeling that something was wrong and panicked, trying to turn off the phone volume quickly. It was too late. The big screen was still on. Messages kept popping up on it. Is that all the patience you have? You're not replying now? Okay then, I'll test you for a month. If you don't get angry for the whole month, I'll consider getting back together with you. Why aren't you talking? You're not going to find someone else, are you? You're not angry, are you, baby? Why still no response? You're not mad, are you, baby? Then came a long string of voice messages. I stiffly turned my neck to look at the big screen. The people around all had complex expressions. Well, this young girl is quite... Even the eloquent host was uncharacteristically tongue-tied, stammering for a long time, not knowing what to say. Looking at this string of voice messages, I had a bad feeling. I quietly took 2 steps back, always feeling that the scene to come was more than I could bear. The host glanced at the bullet comments and then turned to look at me. According to the rules, we have to listen to these messages. I cursed inwardly. I let William go so quickly after he lost. What did I do wrong? Why won't they let me go? I made a last-ditch effort. I'm already done. Didn't you ask me to put it away just now? He shamelessly denied it. I didn't say that. I'm just a nobody, and with the atmosphere hyped up like this, no one paid any attention to my refusals. The moment the phone voice was played, the whole scene fell silent, and the way people looked at me changed. A guy's voice came out of the speakers, low and winding, making people's fingertips tingle. He seemed a bit anxious at this moment, speaking a little faster, coaxing and bargaining. Baby? Why aren't you talking? Are you mad? Well, look first, and then think about whether you want to get back together with me, okay? The barrage went wild. His ex is a guy? That's Daniel's voice? I'm an old fan of his. I can't be wrong. Stop talking nonsense. He's filming right now. Don't try to ride his coattails. Daniel has been in the industry for years, already winning double Best Actor awards and having numerous honors. With his good looks and acting skills, he has legions of fans in the entertainment industry. Anyone even remotely associated with him can get a lot of resources, so many people try to spread rumors of affairs with him. The netizens really moved fast. In just a few minutes, someone posted stills of Daniel filming. Sensing the situation was turning bad, the host quickly distanced themselves. Wow, this is so shocking. We're finding out for the first time that Oliver likes guys too. This is so sudden. Caught us off guard. This should be a huge bombshell for our show, right? Sure is. And there was a bit of a mix-up. You know, that person's voice really did sound like Mr. Shins. But it definitely wasn't him. How could they even know each other? Mr. Shun's popularity is not something our show can afford to piggyback on. The two of them played along, making it seem like I was trying to climb the ladder using Daniel. It really pissed me off. They were the ones who insisted on listening in the first place. Just as I was about to open my mouth to clear things up, my phone video call was dialed. My hand shook and I pressed the answer button. By the time I wanted to hang up, it was too late. Daniel's face clearly appeared on the screen, and the scene erupted in an uproar. The barrage suddenly stopped scrolling. Time seemed to stand still in that instant, and then the entire barrage started scrolling almost frantically. Unaware of the situation, Daniel looked at me anxiously. As he spoke, he started to undo his buttons. Why aren't you replying to me? I couldn't show you while I was filming just now. I'm out now. Wait for me. I'm taking off my clothes. Don't go looking for someone else. I can show you whatever you want. I'll be quick. Don't worry. He completely undid his buttons, revealing half of his collarbone in front of the camera. As if afraid I'd get impatient, he quickly picked up his phone and pointed it downwards. The gasps around me snapped me back to my senses. I shouted at him in a panic. Don't move. Daniel looked up at me, his eyes full of confusion. The phone was still at his chest, exposing a large expanse of his cold, white chest. His muscle lines were tight and smooth, gently rising and falling with his breath. Paired with his face, it was incredibly alluring. I turned my head to glance at the people around me. Everyone's eyes were fixed firmly on him. A strange emotion welled up inside me, making it almost hard to breathe. Coming out about one's sexual orientation can have a big impact on any celebrity, especially for Daniel, who has a lot of female fans. Once this gets out, there will surely be a lot of fans unsubscribing, and those who have been overshadowed by him and want to step on him to get ahead will spare no effort to smear him. I didn't even dare to look at what the dense barrage of comments was saying. In the video, Daniel was still obediently staying still. I took a deep breath, my voice trembling. Put your clothes on. Daniel furrowed his brows, looking puzzled. Why? You haven't watched it yet, have you? I cleared my throat softly, lacking confidence. I'm on a show. Seeing his face go blank for a moment, I quietly added the second half. A live one. The picture on the other side jiggled a few times. After a few seconds, the video was abruptly cut off. I silently put away my phone. The surroundings quieted down for a while. Then a group of people suddenly crowded around, asking me questions about Daniel. I remained silent in response. Anyway, I only participated in this show for one episode, and it was almost time to clock off and get my paycheck. My mind was in a mess, thinking about Daniel. I didn't know what impact this would have on him. After the show ended, my manager asked me to wait for him for a moment while he dealt with something. Sitting backstage, looking at the overwhelming comments online, my legs felt a bit weak. I put down my phone shakily, pressed the power off button, and didn't dare to keep looking. When the director walked in, I was lying on the sofa, looking as if I'd lost all will to live, thinking about life. He looked at me with a smile, his face full of kindness. Anyway, from the time I came to record the show until it ended, I'd never seen him smile at me like this. I was startled by my own imagination, almost on the verge of crying. Director, you're not going to deduct my pay, are you? He still had that smile on his face, and I felt even more nervous. Could it be? Do I have to pay compensation? Why would you think that? It's neither. I just wanted to ask if you could come for the next episode. The next episode? What do you mean? It means we'd like to invite you for the next episode, and we're here to get your opinion. I furrowed my brows. Shouldn't he be discussing this with my agent? Why is he asking me instead? Didn't you ask my agent? He should be the first to know about this sort of thing, shouldn't he? The director nodded. I did. He said I should come and get your opinion. What's going on? Normally, at a time like this when things are so heated, James should just flat out refuse. Why would he have the director come and ask me? I couldn't figure it out, but then I thought about the situation online, swallowed hard, and reluctantly shook my head to decline. Money is important, but my life is pretty important too. The director held up 3 fingers. 5 times the pay. I immediately agreed. Deal. Now I finally understood why James left the decision to me. He really is something. Are you kidding? 5 times. That's 5 times the money. As James and I were walking out, William called out to me from behind. He stared at me up and down intently. Annoyed by his gaze, I pulled my baseball cap lower and waited for him to speak. Did you really date Teacher Shin? It was Daniel again. I took off my hat in annoyance and ran my fingers through my hair. Clutching the hat, I replied impatiently, "This has nothing to do with you, does it? What right do you have to ask me?" He was taken aback, and a blush appeared on his handsome face. He glared at me angrily, but his tone somehow sounded a bit pitiful. Why are you being so mean? He looked like a pampered young master, his eyes watery, as if the bad deeds he did during the live stream had never happened. I was about to lose my temper, but looking at his face, I felt deflated and let out a helpless sigh. I'm not being harsh. Besides, we don't even know each other. You have no right to ask me, not to mention you kind of added fuel to the fire. He took an eager step forward, his breath hitting my face, and I involuntarily stepped back. He froze for a moment, seemingly realizing that I didn't like him, and stood there without moving forward. I didn't mean to. In the show, I looked up at him. He paused, then continued, I didn't expect this to come out. I'm sorry. I thought I thought it would just. William's eyes showed hesitation, and I finished his sentence for him. You thought it would just make me get a scolding, and you could have a good laugh at my expense. He pressed his lips tightly together, and it took a while before he let out a muffled with a thick nasal tone. I didn't know it would be like this. I didn't mean to. I saw the news online today. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound from behind, as if someone was coming. At a time like this, if William and I, with this news just broken, were seen standing together, God knows what kind of news would break out. Almost instinctively, I grabbed him and pulled him in front of me, and casually put my hat on his head. He stared blankly, lifting his chin in my arms, his eyelashes wet, and a hint of confusion in his eyes. Oliver, what are you? His voice and the voice of the person behind him sounded almost simultaneously. Daniel's voice came from behind, drowning out William's voice. Honey? What are you doing? Hearing the familiar voice, I finally relaxed and turned to look at Daniel complainingly. Why did you come over suddenly? You scared me. He walked over quickly and subtly pulled William out of my arms, and naturally stood between the two of us. I came to pick you up. You seem to have forgotten that we broke up. He looked at me seriously. Weren't we talking about getting back together today? Who said that? He sighed, looking rather helpless. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. There are a lot of people blocking outside. I'm worried something might happen to you. Come back to my place with me today, okay? Daniel was a bit taller than me. He looked down at me slightly, with messy hair on his forehead and a small shadow under his eyes. It was too dark to tell if it was a shadow or just extreme fatigue. My heart softened and I nodded. He turned to look at William, and his demeanor suddenly changed. Mister, yeah, it's too late. We're going back now. William tried to say something to me over him, but Daniel subtly blocked him. He straightened up and looked at Daniel. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean what happened today. I didn't know you were his ex-boyfriend. Daniel's voice was cold and firm. I know you didn't mean it. That's why you can stand here safely, Mr. Xie. Before he could reply, Daniel said goodbye. We're leaving now. Goodbye. He turned and walked a few steps, then suddenly turned back. I looked at him in confusion. I saw him walk up to William and take the hat off William's head. Sorry, almost forgot this. William stared at him with a face full of annoyance, and I couldn't bear to watch, so I covered my face. I spent the night at Daniel's place. Early the next morning, as soon as I woke up, I saw Daniel and his agent Sophia huddled around the table in the living room, looking serious and talking about something. I walked over nervously, and on the big screen in front of me was a trending topic about Daniel. The movie Emperor Daniel is gay. Daniel seeking a reunion. There was a string of such titles on the screen, which made me tremble with fear. I carefully studied Sophia's expression. She stared at the screen with a solemn face, and after a moment, she let out a sigh. This is a bit tricky. When Daniel and I were together before, Sophia knew about it, but maybe because Daniel and I didn't create any news, and we hid it well, without being discovered by anyone, so she didn't show any signs of opposition. But now that things have blown up so much, she surely isn't happy. If this kind of thing gets out, a lot of endorsements might go down the drain. The new drama we're filming might also be affected. As she spoke, she glanced at me, and I immediately sat up obediently. How about this? Let's say that I turned Daniel gay. Then, after Daniel fell for me, I heartlessly dumped him, and we can portray him as a pitiful victim. Wouldn't that reduce some of his losses? Daniel looked at me pleadingly. Baby, but I was really dumped by you. I'm already so pitiful. I raised my hand and covered his mouth, telling him to hush. Sophia thought for a moment. No, that kind of persona won't do him any good. I've seen that some people online are shipping you too. Daniel pulled my hand away. They've got taste. I shot him a glare, and he obediently put my hand back over his mouth, blinking at me ingratiatingly. So what should we do? Sophia glanced at me, weighing her words. How about you two officially announce your relationship? Say that you had a fight and made up. That way, it can prove that Daniel isn't the doormat everyone thinks he is. I jumped to my feet, staring at Sophia in shock. What? This is your PR move, Agent Chin. She looked at me, smiling calmly and composedly. Well, you can pay these endorsement fees then. After all, this mess started because of you. I sat up straight. Of course we'll officially announce it. Our big shot actor Shin isn't a doormat. Daniel couldn't hide the smile in his eyes. He secretly and gently licked my palm. I flinched as if I'd been electrocuted and tried to pull my hand back, but he tightened his grip on my wrist, not letting me go. His eyes clearly said, "I'm the doormat." After officially announcing our relationship with Daniel, I nervously checked the news online. Don't you guys really know Oliver? Check out the dance video compilation. You'll see that it's Daniel who's the lucky one. I clicked on the video link. In the video was a compilation of all the dances I'd done before. Dancing is one of my hobbies. Since I found out I could make money from it, I put in a lot of effort. The person in the video hit every beat with every move, looking cool and handsome. I nodded in satisfaction. What are you looking at? I was engrossed in reading the comments one by one when Daniel suddenly appeared behind me. He reached out and hugged me, leaning over to look at my phone. I reacted quickly, covering the phone and pushing him aside. What are you looking at? Stop it. Just because we made an official announcement doesn't mean we're actually back together. He chuckled softly. Okay, whatever you say, baby. Then why are you still calling me baby? I'm used to it. If you don't like it, I'll change the way I call you. I nodded. Change it. He readily changed his words and whispered close to my ear. Honey. He had just come back from outside. 2 buttons of his white shirt were undone, and his tie was loosely hanging around his neck. His deliberately lowered voice was extremely sexy. I shuddered violently. A tingling sensation swept through me like an electric shock. He chuckled and said, "So excited?" It was the first time I heard this address from his mouth. It would be a lie to say I wasn't excited. I suddenly stood up and still insisted stubbornly. Who reacted strongly? There's nothing to get excited about. He didn't say yes or no, but looked at me with an ambiguous look in his eyes. I quickly turned around and fled in a hurry towards the room. In the room, I tried to calm my breathing. Daniel was still knocking on the door unhurriedly outside. Are you done? Come out. I want to tell you something. I suddenly yanked the door open and said through gritted teeth, "You'd better really have something important to say." He looked me up and down, then casually put the towel in his hand on my head. Dry your hair first. Amid the humming of the hairdryer, I turned my head in disbelief. You said what? He sat on the sofa not far away and calmly repeated again. I said, I'm gonna go on that show with you. The hairdryer gradually stopped, and the room fell into silence. I took the contract from his hand and flipped through it, looking it over again and again. My expression grew more and more serious, and I slowly sat up straight. He also put down his crossed leg and carefully studied my expression. After a while, he couldn't help but speak up cautiously. What's wrong? Don't you want to go with me? But Sophia said it might be better if the two of us go together at this time than if you go alone. Don't worry, I won't do anything. I'll listen to you the whole time. I angrily threw a stack of contracts onto the table, so angry that my chest hurt. Why is your appearance fee so much more than mine? He was stunned for a second, then let out a sigh of relief, and said very decisively, It's all yours. I silently sat down and thanked him with my hands clasped together. He confirmed again, So you agree to go on the show with me, right? I nodded indifferently. It's just a show. Why not agree? After the news that Daniel and I were going to be on the show together spread, the number of viewers was unprecedentedly high. As soon as the live stream started, a lot of people flooded into the live streaming room instantly. It was the familiar game session, and this time Daniel and I were in the same group. William still came to participate, but Matthew didn't. He left the company for some reason a while ago. Daniel leaned close to my ear. You won't run into that punishment box even once today. I turned to look at him. Daniel was usually busy and basically never watched such variety shows. This was also his first time participating in one. That's why his fans were tuning in to watch this show. But since he said something like that, he must have seen the scenes where I was targeted during the previous shows. I leaned in and asked, Did you watch the last episode? Of course. How could I not watch when you were in it? The director's voice came through the earpiece. Okay, let's start. The live stream and equipment are all ready. I glanced down at the microphone pinned to my chest and immediately understood something. I quietly shut my mouth and waited for the game to start. This game was a pursuit battle. Within the specified time, as long as the pursuing players hit the stickers on the chests of the escaping players, it would be considered a success. There were two pursuing players. One was in charge of chasing, and the other was in charge of hiding the props. The escaping players could find these props to increase their chances of escape. When I was in a group with Matthew before, I was out of breath chasing the whole time, but the other side could always use all kinds of props every time I was about to catch up, leaving me standing there watching them walk away. Later I found out that Matthew didn't hide the props at all. He just threw them by the roadside casually. The game started. Daniel sat me down on a bench by the road and stuffed all the props into my arms. "Honey, hiding things is your forte. Would you be in charge of this?" I was too lazy to care why he started calling me that again and just looked down at the props in my arms. "Aren't you afraid I'll just throw them around and mess with you on purpose?" I thought he'd say something like, "Do as you like. Even if you play dirty, I'll still win. Or, as long as you're happy." But he actually squatted down seriously and looked up at me. "Nah, you wouldn't do that." I was the one who broke up with Daniel. It was easy to get deeply involved with him, but our statuses were too different. I knew there was little chance of a good outcome. Even when he said he wanted to get back together, I always refused. All I wanted was to make money. To be honest, only money could give me a sense of security. I was a real coward and a selfish one at that. This time, the fake reconciliation was just because I was afraid Sophia would really make me pay up. Daniel clearly knew that, yet he was still so nice. I lowered my head to hide my emotions and waved him away. I carefully hid the things and sat there waiting for him to come back. Daniel was really good. In just over 10 minutes, he caught the two guys on the other side. Just as I was waiting for the announcement of our victory in the game, the director suddenly said that there could only be one winner this time. I stared at him blankly. He remained calm and told me to be the pursuer and chase Daniel. The reason was that I was the one who hid the props, so I knew exactly where they were. I watched Daniel's blurry figure in the distance helplessly. I usually practice dancing, so I was in pretty good shape, but he worked out a lot and basically ran every day, so I just couldn't catch up with him. As the game time was about to run out, I stood there, holding my knees and gasping for breath. Suddenly, a shadow fell in front of me. I slowly looked up, and there was Daniel standing right in front of me. Looking at him, I got unreasonably annoyed and turned to leave. He reached out and held up a freeze card. Since the game time hadn't ended, according to the rules, I could only stand still. I reluctantly stood there, looking at him. Then he suddenly smiled and held out a whole bunch of prop cards. "Baby, I wasn't running away just now. I went to find these. I wanted to tell you that I'll find the things you hid, little by little." I looked up at him and said something completely unrelated. "I can't catch up with you." The countdown started ringing in my ears. He took the paint gun in my hand, pressed it against his chest, and pulled the trigger. Bright red paint exploded on his chest. Streamers fluttered down above my head, and his voice sounded at the same time. "Just stay where you are. I'll come running to you. You're always the winner with me." My heart skipped a beat suddenly. That bullet seemed to hit my heart right on target. When this show ended, the internet almost exploded. When the public opinion on the internet was fermenting the most severely, Daniel turned off my phone. He declined all activities and stayed at home with me for a whole week. In the living room, Daniel disappeared inexplicably for a few hours today. When he showed up again, I looked at him and complained discontentedly. "What are you doing staying at home for so long? I can't even earn money." He was dressed very formally today, in a complete black suit with his hair carefully groomed. "I went to take care of something." "What kind of thing?" He didn't answer me. Instead, he walked around the sofa and came up to me. "Baby, marry me." I squeezed my hand tightly, suppressed the emotions in my heart, and asked, pretending to be relaxed, "Was it Sophia who gave you this idea again? Is this to help suppress the public opinion on the internet?" He knelt down, pinched my fingers, and gently pried them open to hold in his own hand. "No, I want to marry you. It has nothing to do with what's going on online, nor with anyone else. I like you. I like you so much. This cufflink, you seemed to glance at it last time. Do you like it? I bought it for you. And the yacht you like, I've already put it under your name. You said the villa on the Bund was comfortable to live in, so I transferred it to you too. These cards contain all my savings, and the money I earn in the future will also be deposited into them. Honey, will you marry me? I stared at him steadily. Are these the things you'll give me if I agree to marry you? He chuckled. No, these are for you whether we get married or not. I'm the bonus here. I hope you can accept me for their sake. I held out my right hand in front of him. He stared at me in a daze. Honey, I lifted my chin. Take out the ring in your pocket. It's too obvious. You've touched it 36 times in a minute because you're so nervous. His eyes lit up, and he quickly took out the ring and put it on me. Honey, you've agreed, right? I ignored him, turned around, took out another ring from under the table, and put it on him while he was stunned. I patted him on the shoulder. I can't help it. You've given me so much. After the news of my wedding and getting married with Daniel abroad broke out, the rumors online fell apart on their own. In the spread photo, instead of a luxurious setting, it was a corner of the church. A beam of sunlight happened to pass through the stained glass window, casting a colorful halo on our clasped hands. The two carefully selected rings were shining brightly, becoming the most silent and firm proof of all the vows. A little bit from Daniel's perspective, Daniel was so excited when he received that message during filming that he didn't know what to do. Oliver suddenly broke up with him some time ago. No matter how much Daniel tried to persuade him to stay, it was no use. Oliver was very determined and moved out of their home. This was the first message he'd received. He nervously ran to ask his friend what to do. His friend replied, "Of course, play hard to get. Don't seem so eager. Give him a sense of crisis." So Daniel listened to his friend, replied as he was told, and then received no more messages. Daniel cursed his friend while anxiously sending messages to placate Oliver. As he spoke, he waved his hand to signal to the director that he needed to leave for a while. After sending voice messages with no reply, Daniel nervously made a video call. Without thinking much, he started taking off his clothes until Oliver said it was a live stream. Daniel was stunned for a few seconds, then quickly hung up the phone. Sophia rushed over, out of breath, and said in a sarcastic tone, "Oh, so you still have some sense of shame. You finally hung up the phone." Daniel stiffly turned his head and said, "What should I do? So many people have seen me. What if he doesn't want me anymore?" When the online comments started to spread, Sophia asked Daniel what he was going to do. Daniel had already said, "You must handle this opportunity well. You have to use this chance to make Oliver make up with me. Just tell him he has to make our relationship public. The whole world has to know we're together." Sophia asked, "What if he refuses to do it no matter what?" "Then you say, he might have to pay for the endorsement fees I've lost."